Hey everybody, Mr. Macintosh here, and we have the 24-inch 2021 iMac today. If you're looking for a quick review of the new iMac that doesn't include an unboxing or a surprise face in the thumbnail, this is it. We're going to look at all the technical details. We're going to talk about the design, all of the features, the ports, the keyboard, the mouse, the new power supply. We've got a lot to cover. Let's get started. Let's talk really quickly about the size and weight. This iMac is thin, and I need to show you how thin this is. Here I've got a USB-A and a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. The headphone jack is 14 millimeters and the USB-A plug is 12 millimeters. So let's take a look. The iMac itself is 11.5 millimeters. So when I put this here, to give you an idea, look at that, a half a millimeter larger than the iMac itself. And when I put the 3.5 millimeter on there, look at that, it goes past the screen. That's how thin this iMac is. That is the thinness. Let's talk about this iMac only weighs 9.12 ounces. It is super light. Let's talk about the back for a second. It's a very nice painted aluminum color, and there's a little bit of a metallic to it. What's interesting about the logo here is that it's just like the old MacBook Pros and MacBook Airs that had almost like a clear piece on there, but it doesn't light up. I got the model here that has the two Thunderbolt ports. The higher end model has two Thunderbolt ports and two USB-C ports. And then we also have the power button and the new magnetic power plug. So let's talk about the bottom here. There's a perforated bottom all the way from the top to the bottom for the speakers here, and the other speakers are on the other side, and for the two fans that are on the logic board. The logic board is actually behind the chin. And then I also wanted to talk about the stand. You can see the stand here has some resistance going up and down. It does not, unfortunately, it doesn't go up and down, just forward and back like all the other previous iMacs behind it. And it does have these nice sliders on there to help it move in the desk and slide instead of scratching with the aluminum bottom here. And I wanted to focus on the power adapter. When you unplug it, is full magnetic and it's pretty strong when you unplug it. It does have two little knobs to make it go a certain way. You can't just plug it in any way that you want. So when you plug it doesn't go in automatically until you twist it a little bit to the right or left, and then it pops right in. Now what I wanted to do to see is if this is kind of like MagSafe. Like, wonder if someone's walking by your desk, trips over the cord, will it pull out like MagSafe? So let's do a test real quick to see if it does. So I'm going to give it a decent yank to see if it goes anywhere here. The iMac did move a little bit, but it didn't flying off the desk when I was pulling it this way. The only thing I don't like really is that it's one of the first Macs since the Mac Mini had a proprietary power supply cord. So you just can't go get one of your old cords from the closet that has a standard plug and plug it in. And what's interesting is I didn't realize this until the machine arrived and I could see how thin this was. Look at this. The next thing I wanted to talk about is the woven cable. It's very, very nice. The USB-C to Lightning to charge the keyboard and the mouse. It's going to be interesting to see how this holds up over time. And what do I mean by that? Well, I've got headphones here, and you can see that over time it gets a little bit worn. This is definitely a little bit more quality woven material. Now let's talk about the port situation. Everybody's talking about the ports. Don't get me wrong, I love ports. Think about this. The M1 Mac Mini has two USB-A ports. It's very close, but it's only missing the USB-A. And you might think, well, wait a minute, why would they say that we're not going to put USB-A here, but we will in the Mini? Well, maybe it's the space limitations on the side. We know that it can't go in here, and it might have to go on the side. Apple doesn't like the look of this bad boy hanging off the side of the Mac, but then that's where we get into what do we need ports for. If you got a printer, you can use AirPrint. If you need to use headphones, you could use a 3.5 millimeter jack or AirPods. We've got two Thunderbolt ports, different adapters. You can use these different hubs from Anker, for example, that has HDMI out and a USB-C, two USB-A's, and there's your SD card slot. It also has an Ethernet port, and then you wouldn't need the additional upgraded adapter that has the Ethernet port plugged in here. This is an extra $30. So in comparison, if you needed an Ethernet port, instead of getting this, you would get a dongle like this. It's cost $20. So having it in the power supply for $30 is not that bad when you think about it. Again, you're probably smarter off getting something like this, which is around $40. It has HDMI out, three USB-A's, and it has the Ethernet port right here. You can just plug right in and get everything you need right here, right off the back of the computer. So you can just have it laid right back here with a $40 adapter, and you get all the ports that you need. You can see that it does leave some fingerprints. So I wanted to just show you that that's going to be a possibility when you're moving it up and moving it down. MacBook Air again, and you can see it doesn't really show fingerprints on the silver. Silver hides that a lot. Let's quickly talk about the new keyboard and mouse, and I put them next to the previous versions, the older Magic Keyboard with keypad and the older Magic Mouse that's just the regular silver color. If you notice, I don't know if the camera can pick up, there's a little bit of a color difference between the two. And I even have one of the black ones here, or the space gray, that we can put next to that so you can take a look at what those all look like together. And it almost seems a little bit more clear, and this seems a little bit more white. But obviously when you switch it over, you'll see that the color difference on the tracks and on the bottom itself, all blue, and then the blue track, they have a nice tinted blue, just like this bottom piece, the accent. So now the keyboard, if you look at it, they're almost the same exact dimensions. The only difference is we've got a nice curved sides instead of more of a squared off with a very slight curve on the previous Magic Keyboard. When we put the keyboards like this, we can see that there's two main differences. We see that the eject key is replaced by the Touch ID, and we see that the function key also doubles as an emoji key to bring up the emoji menu. If we click the Touch ID, we can see that it locks the screen. And to get back in, all you need to do is put your finger right there, and it brings you right back in, and it's really quick. Let's talk about the screen. It's a beautiful high definition 4.5K 24-inch screen. The colors are vivid, the brightness is high. This is something that I could really get used to working with every single day. Let's talk about the webcam. It's a newly designed 1080p FaceTime HD camera. It's nice to finally get a high definition camera for the Mac. The microphone is a 3-zone microphone. There's 2 in the top and 1 in the back, and it sounds really good for recording. The speaker system is also new. It comes with 6 speakers, 2 subwoofers, and also supports Dolby Atmos. Let's try the speaker system with something that might not get me kicked off of YouTube.
Only one great tasting juicy flavor really gets you moving. Get your friends geared up, grab a stick of juicy fruit.
So as you can hear, the sound is loud. It has a bass to it too, which is nice because previous iMacs were flat. It just didn't have, it sounded good, but you couldn't hear that bass. So again, this is just a simple YouTube video from 1996, but you get the idea. The speakers do sound good, for especially how thin this computer is. Apple did a really nice job. Finally, let's talk some benchmarks and the performance. I got the lower end model because I wanted to show you that it still performs just as good as the MacBook Pro 13 and 16 gigs of RAM, and it still performs very well. It ran a single core of 1728 and a multi-core of 7719. MacBook Pro here that ran the same test and with a 1749 and a 7708, so very, very close. When we talk about this and we hear other people say, oh, you got to get the 16 gigs of RAM, and again, for everyday use, for normal consumers, this is going to run just fine. I've been using Macs for over 20 years, and this is one of the fastest Macs that I've ever used. It's really, really quick. This is literally the perfect desktop for use at home, for anything you need to do. I tested it with video editing, and it worked very fast, faster than my Intel MacBook. Would I recommend this iMac to anybody that needs a new Mac? Yes, I would. I love the colors. The colors just pop, and they're beautiful, and it brings a funness back to the Mac that was started all the way back in 1998 with the G3 iMacs. I absolutely love the blue. It sets itself apart from all other desktop units. For the price, you just can't beat having a high definition monitor connected to the M1 processor. The bottom line is, this is a beautiful computer, and I fully recommend it. We'll catch you in the next video.